Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Council meeting for Monday, 13th of May, 2024. Item 1.2, attendance, please, Ms Weatherall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And we have an apology this evening from Councillor Sophie Tan.
Thank you. Item 1.3, acknowledgement of traditional custodians of land. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Bunurong people, and pay respect to their elders past and present. We recognise and respect their continuing connections to climate, culture, country and waters, and we also pay our respect and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and their elders present here today in acknowledging their journey. If we could also please stay standing. We are all very saddened to learn the passing of a long-serving council officer last weekend. Lucas Skiotis passed away after a medical incident. He had worked at council for 17 years, most of that time in the role of Manager for Transport and Civil Development. Lucas was a highly valued member of staff and will be terribly missed. Our thoughts are with Lucas's wife, Carly, who also works at council. We've shared our sincerest condolences with Carly and offer our full support to Carly and their sons at this very difficult time. Vale Lucas Skiotis, could we all please stand for a minute of silence? Thank you. If we could all just please stay standard for item 1.4, offering of prayer, reflection or affirmation. As part of Council's commitment in recognising the cultural and spiritual diversity of our community, the prayer, reflection or affirmation this evening will be offered by Rajaranta Sama Prima Kantha Kurukal, a member of the Greater Dandenong Interfaith Network. As he is here with us, could you please come to the microphone, please? Please come up to the microphone.
Om Bhurbhuvaswaha Tatsavidurvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Prayer is the very soul, essence of religion. Therefore, prayer must be the very core of the life of a man. The human aspire to the highest truth. The underlying monism of Hinduism pertaining ultimately to the one Brahman began before the ritual process. Before the invocation of diverse deities for the fulfillment of varied needs. The Gayatri Mantra is still invoked all over the world today. By invoking this auspicious mantra today, I am seeking the blessing of God to grant this day of this council's special meeting to all who have present here and vibrate the universal knowledge, protection and guidance. God bless you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Please be seated, everyone. Item 1.5, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. Could I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Dan. Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Deputy Mayor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Item 1.6, disclosures of interest. Ms Weatherall, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a number of disclosures of conflicts of interest this evening. Councillor Philip Dan, in regards to item 4.2.3, he knows the applicant. We have Councillor Jim Mametti on item 4.2.5. He's the director of a company that has a stall at Dandenong Market. Councillor Jim Mametti in regards to item 4.2.5, and he's declaring his family members on the board of a sporting club that uses George Andrews Reserve. Councillor Angela Long in regards to item 4.2.5. She's the president of the Dandenong North Senior Citizens. And Councillor Angela Long in regards to item 4.2.5. She's also the president of the Dandenong Day Nursery. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Ms Weatherall. Item 2, Officers' Reports, Part 1. 2.1, Documents for Sealing. 2.1.1, Documents for Sealing. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor O'Reilly, just in there. Just before you. I'm guessing you as a seconder, Councillor Mametti. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Item 2.2, Petitions and Joint Letters. 2.2.1, Petitions and Joint Letters. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Garrard. Can I have a questioner? Seconder, thank you. Councillor Long. Are there any questions? Councillor Garrard. That's correct.
Park trees with over 1,300 signatures. My question is what will be the next steps in the process of evaluating this?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. We'll ask Mr Manavasa Gasevam to respond, please.
Through you, Mayor. So, Council staff are currently preparing a report. It will be presented to the next Council meeting.
Is that all, Councillor Garrard? Yep. Any further questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Item 3, public question time. Ms Weatherall, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And first person we've got this evening is Zoe Mole of Springvale. If she would like to come up to the microphone, she has 2 questions.
Hi, Zoe.
First question, did staff from Greater Dandenong Council end up attending the Climate Emergency Australia conference in April? And if so, what lessons did they learn that Greater Dandenong Council intends to implement?
Thanks, Zoe. We'll also ask Mr Manavasa Gasevam to respond, please.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for the question. So, 3 staff attended the conference and found it very beneficial. There were a variety of informative presentation, and some of the key takeouts included in the reinforcement of the need for a holistic response to the climate change from all sectors and the need for this to be led at the federal level. At the local level, information was provided on ways to mobilize diverse communities, which will be beneficial as part of the upcoming climate change community engagement and mobilization plan.
Thank you for that. And your second question, Zoe?
Sure. In the Sandown Racecourse Advisory Committee initial assessment report, there is no mention of the huge loss of tree canopy cover that the Sandown Racecourse development will likely bring. As requested by Greater Dandenong residents at these meetings before, has Greater Dandenong Council been requesting consideration of this issue in the development planning?
Thanks, Zoe. I will ask once again Mr. Manavasa Gasivam to respond, please.
Through you, Mayor. Council recently received the documents that are to be considered through the Sandown Racecourse Advisory Committee process, and as such is currently assessing all aspects of this proposal, including any potential tree loss. Once this assessment is complete, Council will be making a submission to the Advisory Committee. A Council report will be tabled in June to adopt the submission.
Thanks, Zoe.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And Madam Mayor, our next questions, we have two questions from Isabel Nash of Keysborough. She'd like to come up to the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. My first question tonight. At the last council meeting, it was noted that there were no current vacancies in the Greater Dandenong Sustainability team. This does not seem to equate with the two ongoing positions funded in the 23-24 budget on the back of the February 2023 Environmental Resourcing Report. Were those positions filled or funded and then defunded?
Thanks, Isabel. We'll ask Mr. Manavasa Gasivasam to respond again, please.
Thank you for your question. The two positions funded in 23-24 were ongoing positions and remain ongoing. As such, the sustainability team currently has 5 full-time positions, all of which are currently filled.
So the two extra positions were filled and are ongoing. Thank you. Referring to the upcoming year's draft budget, it seems the Greater Dandenong Environment Group's request for more funding for immediate climate change staffing and project funds was ignored. How does this equate with the draft long-term financial strategy, which is also on the agenda tonight, which states that whilst introducing climate change mitigation and adaptation measures into Council's strategic management and business plans will have an impact on Council's budget, the cost of inaction would be many times greater.
Thanks, Isabel. We'll ask once again Mr. Manavasa Gasavam to respond, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. The draft budget includes several climate change initiatives, including funding for the gas transition program, implementation of urban forest strategy and tree planting. In addition to these initiatives, Council undertakes many different climate change related activities every year through existing operating budgets to ensure it takes meaningful action within its financial capacity. And also it is noted that it is a draft budget and community members will have the opportunity to make any submission through the upcoming consultation phase.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Isabel. Our next question is from Frank Strangers of Banghome. Would he like to come up to the microphone? No. I can read it out. Why is Harwood Road, Banghome, still a dirt road? Why do we have only 2 street lights for the whole road? Why are there no speed signs on our road? And why has nothing been done with the continued dumping on our road? Can I ask Mr. Manavasa Gasavam to respond, please?
Thank you for your question, Frank. I'm happy to take that question on notice and then happy to work with the team to provide your response soon.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Garrett? Can you use your microphone, please? Yeah, just use your microphone so that can be noted. I don't know what you're asking.
Mayor, I just wish to provide some information. The dumping, as stated, is an ongoing issue. The council committed to putting mobile cameras in that area. We have not seen that. I believe that was over 12 months ago, and I understand there have been no cameras in that time.
Through you, Mayor, perhaps I'll ensure that we do examine the claims that are made in the question, and we will come back to Mr Strangers in regards to that. So. Our next question, Madam Mayor, is from Pam Naylor of Noble Park, who isn't here, and I will read out the question. Sustainable building policy. If the council website is any guide, the review council sustainable building policy is almost overdue. When is the review to occur? And can I ask Mr Sagasavan to respond, please?
The review of the sustainable building policy has been undertaken and it is currently undergoing internal review process. The updated policy is scheduled to be tabled at the August council meeting.
Thank you. There's another question from Pam Naylor concerning Green Wedge Management Plan Action Plan. The council website indicates there's been no annual progress update on the Green Wedge Management Plan Action Plan in 4 years. In the first 5 years of the plan, there were updates almost every year. When is the next progress review going to be published? Can I ask Mr Manavasa Gasavam to respond, please?
A progress update for the Green Wedge Management Plan has occurred every year of the plan. These updates have been provided either by mail-outs to residents in the Green Wedge or through articles in the council news. This year, officers are undertaking second 5-year review of the plan, and the outcome of this will be publicly available towards the end of 2024.
Thank you. We now have 2 questions from Kim Handley of Clyde, which I won't be reading out this evening, as the questions are not deemed as permitted under Council's governance rules, so they won't be read out tonight. But a response will be provided directly to the questioner, and we will ring Kim to explain, and she may seek to reword them for future meetings. Our next question is from Gay Guest of Keysborough, and it concerns Ross Reserve Oval. The number 1 oval at Ross Reserve was always named Paddy O'Donoghue Oval, and I'm wondering if that sign is going to be reinstalled at the Oval. The Noble Park Hall Trust has the original advice from Council dated 14th of July 72 stating that Paddy's name was on the sign acknowledging his lifetime involvement with Noble Park community. We would hope that this will continue and that the sign has just been placed in storage. Who was consulted over taking down the brick coaches box and sign? Has the sign been saved? The Noble Park Public Hall Trust and CHAC were not consulted on this matter. If we cannot entrust Council to preserve our historical significant signs and infrastructure, then it's a sad day for the City of Greater Dandenong. Incidences like this will continue to happen because of lack of staff experience and comprehension about what's important to our local history. If we do not put our processes for proper policy and procedures over historical artefacts, even the brick coaches box was unique and now it's gone. Simply not good enough that courtesy was not shown over this matter, especially as I'm told the coaches box will now be relocated to the other side of the Oval. Is this true? Can I ask Mr Foster, who is Acting Executive Director for Community Strengthening, to respond, please?
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Gay, for your question. Council is in the process of renewing the Paddy O'Donoghue Oval and the Northern Oval at Ross Reserve. The works include renewing the subsurface drainage, irrigation, coaches boxes and the cricket wicket infrastructure. Council, with the support of the State Government, has made significant improvements to the reserve in recent times in accordance with the Master Plan for Ross Reserve. A brand new sign acknowledging that the Oval is named Paddy O'Donoghue Oval will be installed as part of the works due to be completed in July. These works are the final component of the significant upgrades conducted at Ross Reserve over the past decade for local sports clubs and the community.
Thank you. I have another question now from Gay Guest, and it concerns rubbish collection times. Last night, for the first time, your council workers were clearing park bins. Up till last night, it has always been a daytime routine. Have procedures changed without notifying residents as metal on metal, bang crash in the night, air travels distances? These bins are sometimes close to residential homes. Given the meagre stretch budget the council's releasing, is this a cost-saving decision, a one-off event, and in future what will the routine be at day or night? Mr Manavasa Gasavam, can you respond, please?
Council's public litter bin compactors generally operate between the hours of 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. 7 days a week. Occasionally, a vehicle needs to be removed from the service for routine maintenance or repairs. The vehicle you heard last night was one of our trucks working outside of normal operating hours to cover off a vehicle that is out of service today undergoing routine maintenance.
Thank you. Our next question is from Tina Kongs of Dandenong, and it concerns Dandenong Community Hub funding. In the 2023-24 council budget, the finalisation of the concept design for the Dandenong Community Hub and the detailed design of the Dandenong Community Hub were both funded. As this work was not completed, has the unused funding been rolled over into the draft 2024-25 budget so that the finalisation of the concept design for Dandenong Community Hub and the detailed design of the Dandenong Community Hub can be completed in the 2024-25 financial year? Can I ask Mr Foley, our Executive Director of Corporate Development, to respond, please?
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for your question, Tina. Carryover expenditure from unspent project funds in 23-24 are not included in the 24-25 budget, but are instead reviewed and reported as part of Council's amended budget to be included in the June 2024 financial report.
Thank you, Mr Foley. We have another question from Tina Kongs of Dandenong Community Hub. On the 11th of April 2023, Council has explicitly passed an alternate motion removing officer recommendations, firstly linking the Council Dandenong Community Hub and the very different State Government Dandenong Multicultural Hub projects together, and secondly a public-private partnership to deliver it. Why then is there an action on page 69 of the agenda, again linking the Council Dandenong Community Hub and the State Government Dandenong Multicultural Hub projects again together, and also a potential public-private partnership to deliver it when Council has voted against those approaches at the Council meeting on the 11th of April 2023? Can I ask Mr Foley to respond, please?
Through you, Mayor, and thank you again for your question, Tina. The approved motion by Council on the 11th of April 2023 did not specifically exclude the use of PPPs, but called for advocacy for the state funding to partner in the delivery of the Dandenong Community Hub. Public-private partnerships are a possible option to fund council projects. However, no specific action at this time has been taken regarding PPPs for the Dandenong Community Hub.
Thank you, Mr Foley. And our next question is from Matthew Kerwin of Noble Park and concerns Dandenong Civic Centre. What is the purpose and cost breakdown of the $600,000 rectification of Dandenong Civic Centre? Can I ask Mr Manavasa Gathavan to respond, please?
This project relates to replacement of section of external facade of the Dandenong Civic Centre. The works are required as some of the external panels are damaged and have discoloured graffiti protection film. In addition, information about the panel's fire rating has come to light since the construction of the Dandenong Civic Centre 10 years ago. There is no immediate critical risk from these panels, but Council is taking proactive steps to upgrade these panels to a higher safety standards.
Thanks for that. Item 4, Officers' Reports, Part 2, 4.1, Policy and Strategy, 4.1.1, Quarterly Performance Report, January to March 2024. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Garrard. Seconder, please. Thank you. Councillor Mehmeti. Are there any questions? Councillor Dark.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, my question to the relevant director is with regards to the strategic objective number 1, a socially connected, safe and healthy city, particularly page 41, to do with the working of a functional zero model of homelessness within the city of Greater Dandenong. I'm sure that everyone's aware that there is well and truly a crisis going on within the city of Greater Dandenong at the moment, and I know there's been a lot of media coverage. Waze has come up on the media coverage as well, regarding the fact that they're basically at crisis point being able to deal with it. I've had correspondence from a single mum with 4 kids who's been unable to get accommodation and trying to get it. Obviously, there is most definitely a real issue at the moment. This is not just a state, not just a council issue, but also it has, I suppose, significant responsibilities on the state and the federal government as well. I just want to get an update, given that the progress is marked as yellow and is being severely impacted by external affairs, what the officers are currently doing in dealing with the matter.
Thanks for that, Councillor Dark. We'll ask Ms Hajari to respond if she could, please.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for your question. In terms of the homelessness, and we are coming to the councillors in the upcoming CBS councillor briefing sessions to give you an update on the report of all of the activities that are happening across the municipality, and for us in terms of dealing with this and working with different kind of organization into the anti-poverty action plan we have and the other actions that we are taking on. So there will be a CBS briefing upcoming in the next few weeks on this matter.
Thanks for that. Councillor Dark.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, my question is probably to the same director as well, to do with the anti-poverty strategy, and I suppose how that's tracking as well, given how we are, I suppose, a low socio-economic council. I did see some media coverage, I believe it was held at Springvale, where people could bring their bills and some consultation there. It had a lot of media coverage about it. I know there was a couple of conversations, a couple of the local notice boards as well. They did say that there was one future planned, I assume in Dandenong, potentially here or in the nearby vicinity as well. I just want to find out, given how busy it certainly looked from the media coverage and the rapid take-up of it, there's obviously a lot of people with financial difficulties and who have a lot of bills, whether there's the potential provision to hold one a lot more than twice a year, one in Dandenong, one in Springvale, and what we're doing about that as well.
Thanks, Councillor Dark. We'll ask Ms Hajari to respond again. That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, as you mentioned, one of the practical initiatives from the anti-poverty is the include councils partnering with Southeast Community Links, Bring Your Bills, that it was on the 30th of April on the Springwell Hub, and it will be one in Dandenong. I can take it on notice on the further work that we are doing in the anti-poverty to ask and advocate for the more funding to expand that, because there's a lot of work underway on that.
Thanks so much for that. Anything else, Councillor Dark? Any other councillor questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Item 4.2 Other. 4.2.1 Review of Neighbourhood Houses and Community Centres Project Brief. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Garrard. Seconder, please. It's really difficult when people just... Thanks, Councillor Dark. I'd really prefer if people voice their moving. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Thank you. Councillor Garrard.
Mayor, I just wish to congratulate the council on this item. I think it's redressed an issue, a problem that was created with a change of the funding system. And not only has it redressed the wrong, but has actually slightly improved the funding, which is now consistent across the 7 neighbourhood houses who do a tremendous amount of work in our community, educating the community and supporting the community. So I just want to congratulate the council on this very, very positive outcome.
Thanks, Councillor Garrett. Item 4.2.2, Springvale Revitalisation Action Plan. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Deputy Mayor Richard Lim. Seconder, please.
May.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Thank you. Item 4.2.3. Sorry, Councillor Dan, did you want to say something?
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. I know the applicant through their past association, so I'm just raising a general conflict of interest for this item now.
Thank you so much. We'll wait for you to leave the chambers. Okay, so back to item 4.2.3, recommended applicant for the Disability Advisory Committee. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Mehmeti. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Can we ask Councillor Dunn to come back in? One moment. Councillor Garrett. Yep, Councillor Garrett.
I just want to thank Mr. Ali Lawati for stepping up and taking this position.
Thank you. Can we ask Councillor Dan to come back in? Thank you. Next one, yep. Item 4.2.4, draft minutes of Arts Advisory Board meeting, 27th of February 2024. Can I have a mover, please?
Fit to move it.
Thank you, Councillor Milkovich. Can I have a seconder, please? Thanks, Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Okay, so item 4.2.5, 2024 to 2025 proposed capital works program. We have 2 recommendations and 2 conflicts of interest. So for officer recommendation, all councillors are able to stay. Could I please have a mover? Councillor Garrard. Can I have a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Deputy Mayor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Garrett.
I'd like to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to congratulate the council. We don't have to stand up. For these. I know, but
for this one, that's okay. That's okay. No, it's okay for this one, Councillor Garrett. That's fine. We just need to voice. Because I can't always see hands, and then when we speak, we're standing. That's the only thing. Okay. It's all good. Thank you.
It's okay. I was understanding our protocol was evolving. And so this is a very significant amount of money that's being spent on the capital projects, close to over 900 million, and significant developments that are going to significantly impact and improve the City of Greater Dandenong, of course the Keysborough South Community Hub, as well as the commencement of the Wellbeing Centre. So also want to acknowledge and congratulate the Council for that.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Now for Officer Recommendation 2, the conflicts of interest that need to be declared.
I'd like to declare a conflict of interest. That interest is an impact material conflict of interest of a pecuniary nature, S128. I'm the president of the Dandenong North Senior Citizens Club, and I also got another one. It's also a indirect material conflict of interest of a pecuniary nature, S128, and I'm the president of the Dandenong Day Nursery.
Thank you. Councillor Mehmeti.
Thank you, Mayor. I also would like to declare an indirect material conflict of interest of a pecuniary nature, S128. I declare the nature of my interest is described as follows, as I am a director of a company that has a stall at the Dandenong Market. Also, I declare an indirect material conflict of interest of a non-pecuniary nature, S128. I declare the nature of my interest as described as a family member is on the board of a sporting club that uses the George Andrews Reserve.
Thank you, Councillor Mehmeti. We'll just wait for Councillor Mehmeti to leave the chambers. Thank you. So, councillors, officers' recommendation 2, the council approves the proposed 24-25 Capital Works program for inclusion in the proposed 2024 budget, which includes the following as listed. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you. Councillor Dan, can I have a seconder?
Yes, please, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? That item is carried. Could we please ask Councillor Mehmeti and Councillor Long to come back into the chambers, please? Great, thank you. Item 4.2.6, proposed 2024-2025 budget. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Can I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition?
Mayor, I wish to record an abstention on this item.
A what, sorry?
An abstention.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to report abstention on this item as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? The item is carried. Noting the abstention. Thank you. Item 4.2.7, proposed long-term financial plan 2024 to 25 to 2033, 2034. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Garrard. Seconder, please.
Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition?
There we go. Just record an abstention on this item as well, please.
Thank you, Councillor Dark. Any further questions? Any opposition? The item is carried, noting the abstention. Yes? Item 4.2.8, list of registered correspondence to Mayor and Councillors. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Trong. Councillor. Seconder, Councillor Long. Are there any questions? Yes, Councillor Garrard.
The item from to the Mayor from Gas Company Australia regarding LPG's transition to net zero LPG. What was the nature of this correspondence?
One moment, Councillor Garrard, because we're still investigating that. You take it on notice.
Yeah, can we take that on notice and I'll have a look at the correspondence?
It was sent to councillors on the 6th of April. I didn't see it yet. Okay. We'll take that one on notice, Councillor Garrard. Any opposition? That item is carried. Thank you. We have a confidential item for 4.2.9. I'd like to have a mover to change the standing order of the agenda so that this item is moved to the last item for the evening.
Mayor.
Councillor Mehmeti, thank you. And a seconder? Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? That item is carried. Thank you. and move to the last item. Item 5, notices of motion. There are no notices of motion this evening. Moving on to item 6, reports from councillors, delegated members and councillors' questions. We'll start with Councillor O'Reilly, please.
Thank you, Mayor. No report this meeting.
No worries. Thank you. Councillor Dan.
Thank you, Mayor. During the last few weeks, I've met with some traders and residents of Hemming Street, including alongside Councillor Mehmeti, just to learn more about how we can continue to activate the shopping precinct and provide a safe environment for all residents alike. There are some exciting projects on the way, including a community garden and market days that will inject some much needed positive energy into the area and showcase the true potential of the Hemming Street shopping strip. As always, safety remains the #1 priority and concern, and I'll continue to work with Council on strategies to ensure that we can promote a secure and welcoming environment for everyone. Also had the pleasure of visiting the new exhibit by local photographer Terry Blades at the Noble Park Community Centre. It's a free exhibition open until the 28th of June, and I encourage everyone to pop down and view the amazing landscapes that are on display. On the topic of arts, the DandyCon event looks like it was a great success as well. I'd like to congratulate all the volunteers and organisers who pulled off such a great event. And I'd also like to shout out to Dandenong Headspace as well, who also had a stall at the event. And just to thank them for their wonderful advocacy in our local community. It's a tough time for many people at the moment, and it's essential for Council to continue to be strong advocates for local youth services in the area. I'd like to also thank Noble Park United, also known as Drina, for their warm hospitality as they welcomed me to their club, and also won their game 2-0 against Rowville. Parkfield Reserve has a lot of potential, and services a lot of community sport. I welcome the recent progress on the Parkfield Master Plan with the announcement that the state government will also be assisting with the upgrades to the tennis courts as well. And before wrapping up, I believe this one is for yourself, Sanjay. Just some feedback from the community regarding a walk path that's connecting Heatherton Road and Gatcombe Court in Noble Park. The walk path's got a bit of a bend, which means you can't really see what's around the corner. And I've been told that there are some elderly residents that have nearly collided with cyclists or people just going on runs. And at times, particularly when it's darker, it's a place where a few individuals can loiter as well, causing safety concerns. Would it be possible if you look into this and potentially even install pedestrian mirrors just as one solution to improving safety? I'll be happy to email you any photos as well, just for reference.
Thanks, Councillor Dan. We'll just ask Mr Manavasa Gasivasam to respond if he could, maybe take it on notice.
Yeah, thank you for that, and happy to have a look at that with my team. And it would be helpful if you could send me some photos that would help for us. Thanks.
That was all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks so much, Councillor Dan. Councillor Trung.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I don't have a report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mehmeti.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been 3 weeks since our last council meeting, so I'll just go back a few weeks. I attended the Anzac Day service at the Pillars of Freedom in Dandenong, where we had the march and the service, and the crowds keep on getting bigger and bigger, and it's great to see different different cult communities coming together to the service. And it was the Dandenong RSL, Dandenong and Cranbourne held a really nice service, so thanks to them, and it was great to have the community there as well. As Councillor Dunn said, we had a meeting at Hemming Street with the traders and some of the residents. I think you wrapped it up pretty well there, so it was good to attend that as well. I also attended the Dandenong Primary School 150th anniversary with yourself. I learned something new, Mayor, that a former Prime Minister of Australia has actually attended that school. We've also had a Deputy Premier of Victoria also used to go to that school as well. So we've had quite influential children who become adults and have become successful. So it was good to be part of the 150th anniversary at the Dandenong Primary School, and I'm sure there was other people that have gone on to be in state parliament and CEO boards and things like that, so it was great to attend that. I also attended the Dandenong Thunder under-13 girls team. The first game they won 23-1, and I was invited to come watch their second game, which they won 14-0, and last week they won 10-0, and they play in a competition which is called C grade. Now, they won't be playing in C grade anymore. They've been promoted to A grade as of next week because it's just so one-sided, and the girls are really, really skillful, and I think two of my granddaughters are in that team, but I don't think they're the champion players, but they're part of the team. I was hoping that they're going to be the champion players of that team, but they weren't. But they're part of that team, which is inclusive, which was great to be there and watch them. Also, I went to Dandenong South Primary School, where we have, I think, the St Kilda Football Club, through our sponsorship or with our partnership working with the St Kilda Football Club in our region, have visited many primary schools in the last couple of weeks, and I attended the Dandenong South Primary School, where there was about 5 or 6 players. I wasn't expecting all 6 of those players to be senior players and pretty good players. So, and I had a photo with them, and I stand at 6 foot. I think I'm reasonably tall, but I look like a midget in front of those guys. So, AFL footballers are very well built and very tall. So, when you don't realise that when you watch on TV, but when you stand next to them, they make you feel like a midget. Also, I attended the Mount Hira Happy International Children Day, which they run annually, and Mount Hira do a fantastic job, and it was lovely to be invited to attend that as well. A couple of things which annoy all of us. Shopping trolleys. Unfortunately, I've got to say that Williams Avenue, Hammond Road, Kirkham Road, hotspots. If we can have a look, Stud Road, I know he's always got shopping trolleys. I'm not sure. Do we have? I know we have people that go around and pick these trolleys up, but is there something that they do on a weekly basis, or is it just when we put a request in, or how does that work? Can we have an answer on that, please?
Yeah, good question, Councillor Mehmeti. It's one that we're always very, very annoyed with. Councillor Forster, could you answer that one, please? I think we have a strategy in place with this one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I am aware that there is a strategy in place in partnership with local contractors, but as to the frequency of those pickups, I'm not aware. But we can certainly look into that and respond to all councillors providing the details.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for that. Yeah, if there is a frequency or something like that, it'll be great, because I do notice they do get picked up sometimes. So maybe somebody else has put a SnapSend solve, but yeah. And also our hard waste collection. I'm noticing again Hammond Road and Kirkham Road, which are hotspots in my ward, but I also know Hemming Street and Stud Road and those other areas are hotspots as well. Can we have a look into that as well, and also making sure that there's a frequency that goes through that as well? I don't need an answer now for that.
Yeah, no, we'll take that on notice. Yep.
And last one, just driving here today, I normally drive out of Albert Street naturally and turn on to Hammond Road on the right. There was a sign that's been pulled out of the nature strip. It's a no standing sign on the corner of Albert Street and Hammond Road, Dandenong. Thank you, and that's all I have.
Thanks, Councillor Mehmeti. We'll just ask Mr Manavasagasevam to respond to that final question, if you could, please.
Yes, we are happy to have a look at those hard waste collection and also the missing sign. Yeah, definitely we'll get the teams to look at it. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lim.
Thank you, Mayor. The last couple of I was very busy, just trying to make it short as possible. Wednesday, the 24th, I had a chance to attend Cornish College Anzac Day Assembly and the opening of the school, Memorial Garden. It's a very lovely school, and also met a few veterans. His age is about 90-something, 98, something like, 99-something, 98.8, I think. He's going to celebrate 100 years old soon. And after that, I had a chance to attend public school, Springvale Right Primary School, because I eat Murbarak at Springvale Right Primary School with a great hospitality. I'm former councillor there, and a former school councillor. I was very enjoyable because that time when I was at school council, I advocate for school hub, and the hub has been using for the last couple of years already. And after that, on Thursday, I had attend the RSL Anzac Day Dawn services, and Vietnamese Veteran Anzac Day services, and also RSL Anzac Day March services. On the following Monday, I have attend Hither Hill Primary School with St Kilda football player. Like Jim said, I'm a dwarf there. A little small little baby. Compared to them, they're very tall, but very interactive. Honestly, the students are very enthusiastic, ask a lot of questions, and part of the panel as well to answer. And the deputy principal asked me in the near future if I have time, come along to give some idea about health and mental health and physical health to their students. And after that, we attend Netflix event at what we call at Drum Theatre. Yeah, the premiere screening of Hira Mandi on Tuesday. The following day, interview with Cameron. Oh, that's one different story. Just mainly they want to understand about our council, how we handle, but so many other issues about health issue. But the main point they want to know again about heat wave, about how we prepare for climate change. So I think that's a great question they asked for, because from Washington DC, they want to spread the word around the world, Cambodia especially, and USA. And also on Wednesday, the 1st of May, I attend Springwell. Our director, Marjan Hajari, and also Martin Hilden came to Springwell to have a tour with us. This is a good tour to try to understand each other about what is Springwell all about. Thank you for Marjan for coming along on that day. And also on the same days, I had a chance again to attend SMRC. They invited me again to provide health seminar about cold and flu, COVID, and vaccination to support all those social groups. On Thursday, the next day, I'm meeting with RSL and a committee member and Springwell Club, and also director of Monash Health. The idea is the RSL Springwell, they would like to organize a gala dinner for me to use the money for Monash children, and after that, I had a chance again to attend the next day and attend what we call AGM with Monash Health Foundation. And also on the Friday, the 3rd of May, we have Kids Safe Gala with Mayor and so many other MP, and especially Honorable Bill Shorten and his wife as a guest speaker as well on that night. And the next following day, we have a Monash Children's Hospital gala dinner, very successful. About 1,000 people turn up. Previously, about 300 on the Friday. It was a good cause, especially the money go to what we call genomic research. On a Monday, the following day, Mayor and I meeting with a professional boxer Ilyas Hassan. On Tuesday, Monash Health Foundation board member. The whole point, I would like to inform everyone that Monash Health Foundation really work very hard to raise funds for our Southeast, especially. Last meeting, we tried to raise funds we tried to looking for 4.5 million to buy a robot machine for surgery. That's a very good machine. We don't have it yet. And recently, last Tuesday, we have a meeting again, target to buy a brand new MRI machine for scanning all the premature baby and children. That's a very good one and excellent one as well. That's all for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lim. Councillor Long, please.
These are some of the events I've attended since my last formal meeting. 25th of April, I attended 3 Anzac Day services at Dandenong: the Dawn Service, Vietnamese Service, and the Remembrance Service. On the 30th of April, I attended the DMPL meeting at Dandenong Civic Centre. The 4th of May, I attended the 150th anniversary dinner for the Dandenong Primary School. And on the 10th of May, I attended the soccer match between Dandenong City and Heidelberg United. Heidelberg won 3-1. Thank you.
Councillor Garrard, please.
Madam Mayor, I'm electing to sit because I'm reading from my computer. Firstly, Madam Mayor, I'd like to express my deep sadness at the passing of our Manager for Transport and Civil Development, Lucas Sidodikis, and my condolences go out to his family and loved ones at this incredibly sad time. Madam Mayor, Dandenong is currently ranking the highest or near the highest in every indicator of financial and social distress. Currently, 1 in 5 people in Dandenong are struggling, with a quarter of our children under the age of 15 living in poverty, almost 20% of women and homeowners experiencing extreme poverty, our elderly and those who cannot find work also doing it tough. It is little wonder we are seeing more people begging for money, sleeping rough, and increasing rates of theft. Dandenong has the highest level of economic disadvantage, the highest level of poverty, near the highest number of children under 15 years living in poverty, the highest percentage of distressed mortgages in Victoria, the highest level of rental stress and pain. In Dandenong South, almost 40% of people's wages are being paid in rent. We have the highest rental increase in Keysborough in metropolitan Melbourne with over 20%. It now costs almost $600 to rent a unit in Keysborough. In my 30 years in Dandenong, I have never witnessed so much distress, even in people who are earning a wage, who cannot live in a house because they cannot afford the unaffordable rents or the massive increases in mortgages. My question is, will the Council urgently produce a report which summarises the various data points that I have mentioned and gives a true and accurate and current picture of what is happening in Dandenong? Will the Council join with other LGAs and demand that our Premier Jacinda Allen declare a cost of living, housing, rental crisis state emergency? The people of Dandenong are suffering at this moment in a time that is unprecedented in recent times, and it is unacceptable that our Council does not have a collated current report that reflects the true depth of impacts in our community.
Thank you, Councillor Gerard. Ms Hajari, if you wouldn't mind responding, please.
Through to you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Garrett, for your question. As mentioned earlier in response to Councillor Dark, a Council report regarding homelessness is already scheduled for upcoming Council briefing session, and this acknowledges the extreme costs of living and housing pressure that our community is currently facing, which you mentioned. The report offers an overview of homelessness in the City of Greater Dandenong challenges, initiatives, and partnership to address this critical issue. But at the same time, Council Anti-Poverty Consortium of 18 agencies continue to meet monthly and support collaborative effort to identify and address ongoing needs within the community. All agencies report an increase in demand for their services, and Council has supplied various organizations with written letters of support calling for additional funding to support the community. An anti-poverty steering committee has been formed to support the creation of the dedicated advocacy campaign, and discussions are currently underway with a specialist advocacy organization to develop strategy that will target both state and federal government. The relief organization Cornerstone has received additional funds for extra meals during the winter and winter months, and Council continue to search for new opportunities to connect material aid organizations with businesses and additional support. As Councillor Dark mentioned, our practical initiative included Council's partnering with Southeast Community Links, Bring Your Bill Day, with one recently being held at Springwell Hub on 30th of April and the second scheduled for August in Dandenong. It is acknowledged that much work needs to be done in this challenging space, and there is an opportunity for councillors to hear of specific case studies that council are dealing with, of lived experience and suggestion of possible solutions for poverty alleviations across all levels of government.
Thanks, Ms. Hajari.
I
Councillor
thank the
Garrett.
officer for that information. I do acknowledge that we are doing that work. We have been doing that work for a long time. My question is, will we put a current and rapid...
Just a clarification
Sure.
for order, if I could. I understand the council rules, under the governance rules 4.10.2 state that a councillor must stand when speaking. And it does say you must stand unless there is a medical issue as a situation. If council
I have a medical issue and I didn't want to
did 2
disclose
hours
it.
ago when you were at a rally.
Councillor Dark, Councillor Dark, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Dark. Your point has been taken. Councillor Garrett did ask me if she could sit during the question, and I will be sending out an email to all councillors reminding them of our obligations during council question times. Thanks so much. If you could continue, please, Councillor Garrett.
So I just want to acknowledge that the report will be created because I think we need a current picture. Thank you very much. My last question is regarding the Sandown development. Sandown development is the largest development Dandenong is likely to see, and when built is equivalent to 2 to 3 new suburbs. We have only just learnt that the council will be locked out of any decision-making and any ability to shape what happens in that development. And it is now my understanding that the Minister for Planning declared last year that she was taking over that development and locking the residents in the city of Greater Dandenong out of that decision-making process. My question is, why were we not informed when the Minister first declared that she was taking that over way back at the end of last year? Why did the Council, as I understand it, not receive any direct correspondence from the Minister indicating that she was no longer allowing the council to be an active participant in shaping that development? My other questions are, have we, I understand we have been talking to the developers and we are going to make a submission. My question is, when will the councillors see that? When will councillors get an opportunity to input into that? And does that submission ask for a portion of the profit tax on that development to remain in Dandenong and support the large infrastructure impacts that will be required to minimise the impacts on the community? Lastly, have the residents in Noble Park and affected areas been notified of the increased flood risk that they will face when this development is built? And what are the mitigation activities planned to minimise that risk? And again, have the residents been informed in that? I understand that Melbourne Water is now concerned about that, where they weren't concerned, and this will have major impacts downstream. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. We'll ask Mr. Manavasa Gasavam to respond if he could, please. Thanks.
Through you, Mayor. Yes, as you mentioned, Minister of Planning has made that decision last year. My understanding was the councillors were updated at that time. It's before my time, but that's my understanding is. And even though the Minister took over, does not mean that the community cannot have any say in this proposal. The Minister will be undertaking a public exhibition of this amendment, which will run from 20th of May to 24th of June. I would encourage any interested parties to make a submission to the Minister during that period. With regards to Council, yes, we'll make a submission, and we have organised a 3rd of June Council briefing to discuss about the Council position and the submission, and then it will come to the subsequent Council meeting for the final adoption, and then we can submit that submission to the Minister. And the amendment includes proposals for infrastructure such as school, open space, a community centre and road upgrades. These are proposed to be funded by the developers via the development contribution plan or any other similar mechanism that ensures that council is not required funding these. Yes, definitely part of that is we will look at the profits tax and all of that included part of that process. The potential flooding identifies there's a need to be a detailed plan to address any risk, and currently officers are currently assessing the issue, and also we are working closely with the Melbourne Water at this stage. So part of the briefing, we'll have more further information to discuss about that.
Thank you for that, Councillor Garrard. She's done. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. Okay, Councillor Milkovich, please.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor. On the 25th of April, together with Councillor Long, yourself, Councillor Dark, I think Councillor Long-Troy, attended an Anzac Day dawn service. It was great to see a large number of our residents acknowledging the sacrifice that those people have laid down, the ultimate sacrifice for us to be able to enjoy the freedoms we enjoyed today and brave the weather to pay their respects to all of those who have not come back. So it was great to be present in that dawn service. Last Sunday, on the 5th of April, myself and I believe Mayor as well celebrated one of the most joyous and happiest days in the Orthodox calendar, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So I'd like to use this opportunity to celebrate, to congratulate and to wish a happy Easter to all our residents of the Orthodox faith who celebrate on the old Julian calendar. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Milkovich. Councillor Dark.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, a few of the events that I attended over the last few weeks was on with Councillor Mehmeti, the International Children's Day at Mount Hero College in Keysborough. International Children's Day was actually, I thought it was for something else than what it actually turned out to be. But in 1920, the Turkish Parliament met and they created International Children's Day to celebrate and commemorate for the future generations coming through who basically would become the future leaders of tomorrow. It was actually a very, very well-attended event. A lot of parents were there, a turnout of the full school, along with the Consul Generals from Pakistan and also the Consul Generals from Turkey as well, were there to celebrate the anniversary that is. Always having good turnout of people. I also attended the Anzac Day dawn service along with Councillor Long, Councillor Milkovich, yourself and Councillor Lim. And that was a very, very well-attended dawn service. The year on year, it appears that it's growing, particularly given the younger generations coming up and growing through. The attendance of a lot of community members, not only that, but I know several from the Keysborough area as well were in attendance, and that's always a good thing to see them coming out. I also attended on the same day Orthodox Easter was the Flores de Mayo at the Springvale Town Hall, and that is the celebration in the Filipino calendar to do with the end of autumn and the seasons to do with flowers as well. And that was another very, very well-attended event. They had a lot of stores from local traders who were coming out to try and test the market given their produce and the things that they've made for the local community as well. And the community is always happy to come out and celebrate. I know Councillor Formoso had many appearances on stage and was doing up and down almost every 5 or 10 minutes. She was doing very well. My first question this evening has to do with the Ross Reserve Pavilion. And I know I've raised this in the past. On the weekend, Keysborough Soccer Club played at Ross Reserve against Springvale City, and they actually weren't aware that I'd previously raised this as well. But I had some correspondence from the Keysborough Soccer Club that there was a smell within the change rooms of this sewage smell. Second to that, there's also issues with now the sewage and the water flow into the pavilion, and they had toilets that just wouldn't flush. And it caused a massive issue for them running through the change rooms to the general area as well. One would imagine that given that there's been a sewage smell and also now we have issues with the sewage system blocking, if we could please get an update of where that was at. I believe there was an independent assessment done. There was a builder who was engaged with organised plumbers, but haven't heard anything to date. I did get a heads up. I believe they're playing Sandown Lions this weekend at the home side again. They're concerned that they may not be able to get through the game if the toilets aren't fixed.
Councillor Dark will take that on notice, and if required, we'll bring some temporary toilets in, depending on the situation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Weatherall.
Thank you. My next question to the relevant officer. I noticed in the Herald Sun, the Herald Sun, on the weekend to do with Frankston Council, and Frankston Council through the local laws team have a rapid response team which they've been rolling out, particularly dealing with local laws and delinquents running around the streets, amongst other issues, as well as local laws breaches. They're, according to Frankston Council, according to the article, they've had good uplift and good responses as well. I just want to find out from the relevant officers, one, whether we've seen that article, and two, whether we've had any potential to have a look at it and to talk with Frankston Council about potentially doing something similar.
Yep, thanks, Councillor Dark. We'll ask Mr Forster if he could respond, and a great initiative may be something we can look into.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor Dark, for your question. Yeah, I'm not aware of the article as yet, but we can certainly look into that tomorrow and also ask the community amenity team whether they've looked at it, and also corresponded with their colleagues at Frankston around the application of a fast response local laws team.
Thank you. My next question, well, I suppose second last question, with regards to the footpaths in the municipality and the state of the footpaths, I was running around my ward on the weekend, prepping for a marathon that I've been signed up for, and I did note that the quality of the footpaths usually has been audited. I know in the past we've had a separate contract that did come to council where the footpaths were scanned, or there was a truck with some lasers. However, it was done to basically assess the structure of the footpath, the rise and fall, and the states and quality. I just want to find out, one, if we're intending on doing that, or two, how we gauge the changes in footpath natural movement.
Thanks for that question, Councillor Dark. We'll ask Ms Hajari to respond if she could, please. I think we asked this not long ago.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for your question. Yes, we have the comprehensive footpath review, I believe, 2021 or a bit earlier. At the moment, we are looking at some of the conditions, footpaths and the roads and a few other assets that we had, including buildings, and we will update the councillor on the plans we have going forward. We are conscious of the time that has gone through the comprehensive of this collection. However, our team in the operational centre are looking at the footpaths periodically, but that comprehensive condition data that you are mentioning, it hasn't done, but we are working towards through the budget and how we can do that again.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I just want to pass on, I suppose, publicly my condolences to the Sikiotis family on the passing of Lucas Sikiotis. Since I was first elected, he's been a significant, I suppose, go-to person regarding the state of the roads, queries about infrastructure to do with road streets, how it's calculated, and also being able to deal with infrastructure improvements of the site. To hear of his passing was extremely sad news. He was somebody who I'd actually only been emailing with a few days beforehand, and about the quality of the roads and what we were doing about potentially resurfacing them. And it is extremely unfortunate, given 17 years that he has been a part of this council. The infrastructure that he's delivered has been second to none. And I just want to pass on my condolences to him and his family. And lastly, just want to also congratulate Marjan Hajari. I did see on LinkedIn, I have an extensive network, that on the IPA, I think there's a second A. Yep, the IPAA, that Marjan Hajari was awarded the top 50 public sector women in the public sector, and that's a phenomenal achievement, so congratulations. That is everything. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Dark. I've obviously been to a lot of events over the last couple of weeks. Some would say too many, but I'm getting through it. But I did want to make a statement about something extremely special, and one of the main reasons that I actually ran for council. I was really pleased to hear of a commitment to a stud road traffic project in the Victorian budget this week. It is harrowing to watch people with prams, small children, mobility, scooters and cyclists trying to cross along the 800-metre stretch of road with no traffic lights or pedestrian facilities. Alongside Greater Dandenong City Council and community organisations, I've personally advocated for this matter to be addressed by the state government for over a decade. This is the first time we've had a commitment to the funding and delivering of the project from the state government, so this is a huge step forward. I was pleased that the Minister for Roads and local MP Gabrielle Williams did come to visit us in recent months to discuss the matter. Obviously, they heeded the calls from our community, but the state government's sense of urgency is sadly still missing. We're disappointed that the funding is phased over 3 years. We also note the funding commitment is split across 3 metropolitan road projects and seems to fall well short of the amount required. We understand that the funding in year 1 is to finalise the design. Our officers are most willing to work with the department to finalise the project, and we're very close to having that project shovel ready ourselves. We will continue to advocate to ensure there is adequate funding to complete this project and that this is done as a matter of urgency, as we've been advocating for. Council lit up the Drum Theatre in yellow each night until Sunday as part of the Shine a Light on Road Safety campaign that coincides with National Road Safety Week. We are devastated by the lost lives and serious injuries that Stud Road has seen. We will continue to advocate to have this project completed within 2024-2025 in hope that the future tragedies may be averted. I will personally continue to advocate very strongly for this to occur. I will table the minutes for the other events that I've attended over the last couple of weeks. And Ms Weatherall, are there any questions that need to be tabled from last council meeting, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have them here for you.
Thank you. Item 7, urgent business. There is no urgent business. We are now going to our confidential item 4.29. The officer's recommendation that under section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020, the Act, Council 1, resolves to hear this item in camera on the grounds that the information contained within the report is deemed confidential under section 31A and G of the Act. And 2, notes that the information is deemed confidential because it contains financial and business information that would prejudice Council's position in commercial negotiations and may unreasonably expose third parties to disadvantage if prematurely released. Could I have a mover, please?
Move.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. And a seconder, please. Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? That item is carried. Yeah. So we will ask for this meeting to be closed to the public, please, at 8:17.
Through you, Mayor, can I also ask that officers that aren't involved in this report, they're welcome to go home, please.
Thanks, officers. Thank you for your attendance this evening. Okay, thank you, everyone. We are now reopening the meeting at 8:22 p.m. Item 8, close of business. We are now closing business at 8:23 p.m. Thank you to everyone. Have a safe evening and good night.